All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to Monday Night Law on Kirk's Law Corner. We all fired up for tonight? Everybody had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. It was really productive. So I had a good weekend. It was beautiful all weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. Wait for people to show up here. I know I'm a little late tonight, but sorry about that. Evening, Diesel D's. Hi, Jacqueline on YouTube. Fruit Monkey. Top Cat was first one on YouTube. He's an overachiever. He was here early. Well, hi, Cece. So you got Illinois and Alaska in the house. Evening, James. Don, evening. Question is, what's good? 2 plus 2 still equals 4. For how much longer, I have no idea. Well, I know that YouTube is, well, both Facebook and YouTube have messed with like followers and stuff. So for those of you on both Facebook and YouTube, if you might want to check your subscription. And for those of you not getting notifications, click on the bell there on YouTube and make sure that you're getting notified for everything, not just whatever they choose to notify you about. I know that there's been people been removed subscription wise, both from my Facebook channel and my YouTube channel. So, and yes, happy birthday out there to Donald J. Trump. Happy birthday. Belated. Boy, there's some crazy stuff going on out there, isn't there? I've read a couple posts and listened to an audio of some top people being executed and going through the military tribunals. So this coming month ought to be quite interesting. Hi, Kelly. Hi, James. Ooh, triple digit heat wave in the Southern Cal. That's where we've been, man. Here in Idaho, we've been pushing the 100-degree marks. I'm not sure what we got up to today. I know it was quite hot today. It was close. Oh. My weather thingy says a high of 104 today. Fruit Monkey, you just go check. I mean, you got to be on it. You know, if you don't, if you're not getting notifications, you might want to check that. Uh-oh. There, we'll do that. We'll make it so you fix it fast and get back in. It dropped out. There's only two genders, man and man with a womb, and God is the creator, so I know, Kelly. I've actually had this discussion with a couple different people over the weekend, and the fact is with what's going on, you know, God talks about my people shall perish for lack of knowledge. I think that's what's going on. Is this is a survival of the fittest, and in this instance, it's the survival of the fittest of mind. You're either of sound mind, possessing logic and reason, and have the ability to come to a reasonable conclusion based on reality, or you're insane. So, with what's going on, people have had the choice to get the jab. You know, things are going to get crazy. I think people are going to start dropping like flies over the next year. And I don't know how many people have seen that one video that's been floating around, and there was done an update to it about the warehouse full of cadaver bags. And I mean, there's boxes and boxes and boxes throughout this whole warehouse full of cadaver bags. This is what's going on. People are going to drop like flies. So if you have a loved one or significant other, or family member, whatever, that's gotten the jab, spend as much time with them as you can, if you can. Some of them are going so crazy that they're, removing people from their circles of friends and family. So, it's, yeah, exactly. We're at war, folks. Yeah. Well, we need to wake up. And if you haven't woke up yet, it's a little too late. And I truly believe that this is biblical, and this is a spiritual battle, and this is what is going on. That, if you weren't already previously awake, it's too late. Again, my people shall perish for lack of knowledge. So this is what's going on in my mind, what I can see, my reasonable deductions of what's going on out there is, people are given the opportunity. Like, I haven't gotten it. Why? I mean, they offered it to me when I was in jail, and I'm like, oh no, I want absolutely no medical services from the Ada County Jail. So, I made it very clear that I didn't want it. I don't want it, and I'm not going to take it. So, yeah, I'm wondering about that too. Possibly the 17th here, just in a few days. Thursday, there might be a media blackout. Internet supposed to go down, maybe. So, again, in my mind, that's just mere speculation, but stranger things have happened, right? No, I don't think we need to be wearing masks, because the thing is these dust masks are that's it. They're for dust. And the thing is this stuff is way smaller micron wise than what a dust mask can even begin to filter. This is the time to pick a side. Are you with God, or are you against God? I mean, again, this is biblical, right? Yeah, even an N95 mask is still just a dust mask. You need a biohazard mask in order to protect ourselves from whatever this crap is that supposedly created a pandemic. And in my mind, a pandemic, from what I've researched, it has to affect a significant portion of the population. Nowhere near close. I mean, it's so deadly that these symptoms are, sometimes you don't even have any symptoms. So how's that? So I don't know. Critical thinking. Right? Anybody with guns. Yeah. Well, now there, things are coming out talking about how, oh, it's not even communicable. They couldn't get it to spread in the labs. So, and again, as far as I know, it actually hasn't been proven to even exist. I mean, aside from on paper and a patent and allegedly out there at the lab, but what happened to the flu? The flu just magically disappeared? Now, I've seen some stuff where people have compared previous numbers, previous year's numbers regarding the flu versus the thing that we can't talk about. It's quite amazing how those numbers are about the same. So there was nothing new in my mind based on the statistics. And there again, we have people that are dying at a higher rate of numbers than this alleged thing that we can't talk about. Mark, I'm buying more rope. It's going up. Oh, it's going up, all right. So is death by firing squad. So, yeah, vitamins, folks, natural nutrients. We need to be able to take care of ourselves uh, health wise. I mean, I strongly, strongly recommend vitamin C for anything. It is the number one vitamin for our system here. We already have this little system in our body to fight. So you keep your immune system up to par, and it'll work. It'll do what it was meant to do. I don't believe that we need pharmaceutical drugs or any other jabby jab things. We need to be focusing on natural. There we go. Sorry for your loss, Scott. Brother-in-law got it. It shut down his organs and he died. That's the only one I've known to have it. Period. But that's that in my mind. That is what's going on. That's what's coming. And I mean, at this particular point, it's to sit back and watch it all unfold. There's nothing that we can do about it. We need to take care of ourselves. And I'm thinking this more than anything is now is the time to really make sure that you have sufficient amount of food and water for backup. Right. Right. Here's a comment out here. Guys, a woman who owns an executive hiring firm said that the oil industry is already succession planning for all workers that took the jab, planning for the next few years. That means the corporations know. What is it that they know that we don't know? Think about it. I mean, what little bit is leaking out of the ones that are dying from getting the jab? I mean, what's the real numbers? How many of them are not being reported and told and talked about? But it's being in sufficient numbers, much higher than the alleged thing that caused the thing. So, population control, survival of the fittest, and say goodbye to your loved ones that have taken it. I mean, I don't. I don't know what else, if there's people that are going to survive that did it or not. But, what if the whole 5G thing kicks in and they just turns them off, pops them like a light bulb? Evening, Doug. How's it going, brother? Some fancy reading there you shared from Wednesday night. So, now that I have a bunch of you here, I want to again talk about the new venue, the new office. If you'd like to help support that, get me in there, I would greatly appreciate it. Being my digital side of things have been taken down, I'm strictly relying on physical mailings for donations. And that's over at the current office, 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Boise, Idaho, 83704. And the thing is this is going to give me the venue permanently as a place to start doing law seminars and start the school side of things. So this is a huge step in the right direction, and it's definitely quite a bit more costly, but I think this is the next step for Kirk's Law Corner here locally, is to get this venue so that we, instead of trying to find a venue every time we want to try and do something, I'll already have one. And the move's not going to be very far, just it's in the same parking lot. So anything you folks can do out there to help. I know things are pretty tight right now. Everything's all messed up. So whatever you can send to help, and the plan is July 1st. So I've got 2 weeks? 2 weeks to come up with a sufficient amount of funds to get in there. So I would greatly appreciate any help that you could provide. But yeah, this is definitely going to be, I think it's going to be very beneficial for not just myself, but for anybody who has been wanting locally to come to these law seminars that we hold every once in a great while. With having the venue, I plan on doing one at least once a month. And then I'd like to start doing, like a week-long class, Monday through Friday, just like going to school and teaching the law, providing these courses on how to do this stuff. So And of course, I want to thank everybody for being here, wanting to learn. Good, solid American patriots here. Aside from the trolls we get once in a while, they're just dissenters and just can't imagine the truth coming out of here. And of course, with what recently just happened, some of them are pretty happy, but not as happy as they thought they were at first because, well, I only went to jail for 2 days. But there's some interesting things that I've learned over the weekend about the common law stuff. So this is part of what I'm going to try and implement, and we'll see what happens. I've been studying the common law stuff now for a little over 2 years. So, just under 2 years, because it would have been around June. No, okay, so about 2 years. Hello, it's June. So about 2 years I've been studying common law stuff, intermingling with everything else that I've been learning. And some of the things that we have previously taught actually come in conflict with the common law. And for example, no real big thing other than the clear distinction between what a petition is and what a remonstrance is. The petition to petition the legislature is actually a political lawsuit. To remonstrate is to say that, hey, in the middle of making this bill, I'm saying, no, I don't consent. I don't agree with this. That's a remonstrance, that you're in objection to whatever the legislature is doing. And then the right to address is the right to speak. So, some people have seen the videos where I spoke down at the Idaho Capitol this legislative session. And that's the right to address. Now, if you want to be heard further than just those 3 minutes or 2 minutes, they cut it down to 2 minutes there at the end, you need to file the remonstrance. Because when you file a remonstrance, then they can ask you questions and do follow-up stuff based on your remonstrance. This is how you put the plug in their ear and go, well, hey, wait a minute. This guy's saying this is not lawful or whatever because, and there's reasons behind why it's not lawful what they're doing or why you're objecting to it. So again, something I said a long time ago was that we're returning back to the common law long before this stuff all went with Trump going back to 1776, long before the Commission on Unalienable Rights came out with their report there. And I'll be honest, I still have yet to read that whole report. I mean, I got into it far enough to where it was like, okay, I get it, right in line with what I've been teaching, that property, okay, this goes back to the common law, guys, and pay attention. Our property is an aggregate of guaranteed rights. Natural rights and civil rights have absolutely nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. Unalienable, which means you can't place a lien upon them. The Declaration of Independence talks about these unalienable rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That receiving their just powers under the consent of the governed. Again, not everybody is to be governed by the Constitution. We have a common law, and we're supposed to be self-governed. That's our proper form and role of our Republican form of government. Not to be confused with the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. That's not Republican in character or conduct. We're not supposed to have parties. You're either an American patriot or you're not. And that comes straight from the Law of Nations written by Emery D. Patel. So So this is what we need to be focusing on and learning, because this is really how we're going to kick the crap out of them. I think I saw your comment there, Mark, on the North Idaho Exposed. They did that video on me and what I was doing there for Casey. So well, there's a couple people putting that stuff out to address the question over here on YouTube. Fruit Monkey, how do we keep up with your court hearings? Almost fell out of my chair when you called that judge a human trafficker. I want to see more of that. Oh, there's going to be more. But I pretty much have said what I needed to say there. And I've actually put it in writing and filed it with the court. What do you see what happens next? Any Southern Californians on here support Riley's Farm. They do a wonderful job. All set 70s colonial dinner. Hatchet toss. Oh, right on. Patrick Henry speech. People dressed for the times. It was a wonderful 3 hours. Right on. So Riley's Farm there in Southern California. Go support that place. You're in California. So that's the thing is the common law has to be invoked. You know, I talk about doing a notice of special appearance, objecting to the personal jurisdiction and motion to dismiss, challenging personal jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction. Now, the burden of proof is on the moving party to prove jurisdiction. Well, when we come in and what we do, we establish or declare the common law jurisdiction. See, the parties dictate the jurisdiction, not the court or the building, the man in the black robe. They don't dictate the jurisdiction. And see, they've routinely disguised and claimed that, oh, well, jurisdiction is venue. No, it is most certainly not. You're talking about locus jurisdiction, the location. This alleged crime happened in this district that was previously ascertained by law. That's great. That's the locus jurisdiction. They're claiming that that's personal jurisdiction. No, it is not. Personal is person, in proprietary persona. I am not a person. I am a man. And they don't have jurisdiction over man. They only have jurisdiction over corporate fictions, persons, like governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general. Those are persons. You know, again, I go back to the English Bill of Rights where they're talking about in their proper person as the Prince and Princess of Orange. Their name and style. Their name is George, or jeez, I can't even think of, is it George and Mary? As Prince and Princess of Orange in their proper person. Well, there you have it. That's the one that clicked it for me. It was like, wait a minute. That's the proper person. So, right? Section 61 of the Magna Carta, the right to petition. They have 40 days to respond. 1689 cannot punish for petition. That's the English Bill of Rights of 1689. And that was the thing, is people were filing petitions and getting retaliated against, and so far as even being murdered. So it's not like this is not a repeat of history, folks. The thing is our rights are our property. And this is why it's called a common law trespass. Because they are trespass on our property, an aggregate of guaranteed rights. So when they actually deprive a fundamental right, we can go after the man. Don't try to go after them as a judge and sue them in Title 42, 1983. Common law. Suits between a man and a man. Well, it doesn't include a natural person, because a natural person still, natural person, that would be Kirk's Law Corner LLC. That's a natural person. Naturally, I created that. But when we're talking about government officials, that's in their proper person. Governor, Idaho Notary Public. Those are officers of government. So, as a man, I'm not a person. Can't be. And even there's some stuff that I was reading this weekend too about that, is the fact that even the Bible talks about to watch out for them persons. So again, this is all man-made stuff. Man's law, contracts, the law of contracts, because that's it. That's your two choices. You either at the common law or there's a contract. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no in between. There's nothing else. You either have the common law or there's a contract. And even then, some of the contracts are still at the common law, but it's contract law. So the thing is the Constitution is a compact contract of employment. And there is no firmer bond among men than an oath. This is why we require any man, one of the people, to enter into their proper person as governor, president, whatever the official job title is, that they shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. Okay, so right, the all capital letters name Capitis Dominius. Okay, actually, that's a good one to bring up, I think. Let me pull something up here. Is it in there? We go. Let's pull this one. Oh, well, let me get to it. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. I think it's in here. There's capita by heads, an expression of frequent occurrence in laws regulating the distribution of the estates of persons dying intestate. When all the persons entitled to shares in the distribution of the same degree of kindred to the deceased person, even all grandchildren, claim directly from their heir. Uh-oh, it's not in here. It's not. Not in here. Darn it. Let's see where. I wonder if. Well, what's a sheriff? Name of the chief officer of the county. I wonder if straw man is in here. I know it's in Black's Law. This may have happened after 1856. I don't know. Come on. If not, I'll have to pull up Black's Law. Come on, jeez. Nope, it's not in here. No straw man in here either. Stranding. What about standing? Now I'm going to go way back. Thought I saw standing. Maybe it was stranded. Starbucks? Oh, Star Chamber. Remember those? Well, they don't even have standing in here. To stand, like understand, to abide by a thing, to submit to a decision, to comply with an agreement, to have validity as the judgment must stand. Now, here's a really good one that I like to share. Cause of action. Oh, really? Cause of action. By this phrase, it is understood the right to bring an action. which implies that there is some person in existence who can assert and also person who can lawfully be sued. For example, where the payee of a bill was dead at the time when it fell due, it was held the cause of action did not accrue, and consequently the statute of limitations did not begin to run until letters of administration had been obtained by someone. There is no cause of action till the claimant can legally sue. Therefore, the statute of limitations does not run from the making of a promise if it were to perform something at a future time, but only from the expiration of that time, though. When the obligor promises to pay on demand, or generally without specifying day, he may be sued immediately, and then the cause of action has accrued. When a wrong has been committed or a breach of duty has occurred, the cause of action has accrued, though the claimant may be ignorant of it. So, when your rights are violated, you have a right to a cause of action. Yep. That's the thing is I talk about, no, I don't understand. Hey, Peter, what's going on, brother? To understand is they're asking you, I'm advising you of what your rights are here. They don't tell you what all of your rights are. They're telling you what your rights that you have in these de facto kangaroo courts. So they're controlling your rights. Do you understand what your rights are as I've advised you of them? No, I don't understand. Like I told him, well, I'm gonna tell you what your rights are. You're gonna tell. I laughed at him like, you're gonna tell me what my rights are? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. I already know what my rights are. I don't need you to try and limit me on what my rights are. But see, he wants to try and dictate what my rights are, and I only have the rights that he says I have. No, thank you. My rights are my property, and you're trespassing on my property, an aggregate of guaranteed rights. That's grounds for a cause of action. And that's it. It's theft of property. When they take a right from us, that's theft of property. It's a trespass. Right? But see the scheme, scam, and fraud of the bar that's going on here is that their code, they make this stuff up. And well, you have to be authorized by them to practice their law. That's what's really going on. But I'm not here to practice their law. I'm here to perfect the law, but more importantly, to stand upon my property as creator endowed rights per the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence declares what my status is: a creation of God, a man. Can you rebut that? Because if fraud vitiates everything from its inception, well, I'll be darned. If fraud vitiates everything from its inception, the birth certificate is a fraud. Why would I have to actively engage in any of the fraud to get out of the fraud when fraud vitiates everything from its inception? any man who takes action under that fraud becomes culpable. And that's what they're doing. That fraudulent conveyance, the birth certificate. I'm sorry, we are born. Ships are birthed. So, that's right, CC. Jurisdiction must be given. It cannot be assumed. Because you make an ass out of you and me, right? But see, there again, there is a presumption that the moving party, usually the prosecuting attorney, right? Or CPS or whoever the moving party is that's taken action against us, there's a presumption because it's been left unrebutted and challenged. And then the judge just assumes that jurisdiction that's been brought before the court because there's no objection to it. There's no objection to the personal jurisdiction. This personally doesn't apply to me. Prove it. So you might refresh your page if you got buffering issues, because everything seems to be going good over here tonight, even though it's playing around on OBS, and I really don't know what OBS's issue is. But anywho's, wanted to jump back in this treatise on the constitutional limitations, kind of where we left off here. You know, again, reiterating the common law. The settlers of the colonies in America did not carry with them the laws of the land as being bound by them wherever they should settle. They left the realm to avoid, they left the realm to avoid the inconveniences and hardships they were under. Where some of these laws were enforced, particularly ecclesiastical laws, those for payment of tithes and others, taxes, taxation, had it been understood that they were to carry these laws with them, they had better have stayed at home among their friends, unexposed to the risks and toils of a new settlement. So in other words, you know, hey, if we're going to still be bound by this crap, then there's no reason to leave. But that was the part of the reason why they left, starting clear back in 1603 with the establishment of Jamestown, Virginia, and the first charter of Virginia of 1606, getting away from the Roman Catholic Church. Again, Magna Carta, 1215. That's the great charter of liberty, to liberate ourselves from the Roman Catholic Church, even as far back as 1215. That's really what the Magna Carta is about, is taking that sovereign power from the king and the church under ecclesiastical law and giving it back to the people and giving all of our rights to God, which is where they came from to begin with. Because God is the creator. He created everything. He created the heavens and the earth, right? Yeah. So God is the sovereign, not the king, not parliament, not the state. State is a state of being. The state of being sovereign. That's us. The people are sovereign. Actually, God is the sovereign. God endows us with sovereignty. Ultimately, God is the sovereign, because the law speaks to all with one mouth. Whose mouth would that be? The one who spoke it all into being. So, period. God is the sovereign. God is the Almighty creator of all things, and gave man dominion. And again, this is the origin of the word law. God gave man dominion over the land and all things in the land and on the land, and the air and all things within the air, and the water, not the sea. This is where the Bible's been rewritten. It's water, not sea. The sea is the holy sea, the all-seeing eye, S-E-E, not S-E-A. It's water. So, the all-seeing eye that's on the dollar bill, back of the dollar bill, Illuminati, the all-seeing eye, the Vatican, London, D.C., the Tri-City states, the state of being in control of the whole world, the all-seeing eye. Let's see. We'll get down into the next paragraph here. Oh, how about this one? The acts of Parliament passed after the settlement of a colony were not in force therein unless made so by express words or by adoption. That's Commonwealth versus Lodge, blah, 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 Pemble versus Clifford. I mean, there's several cases here that talk about that. Those amendatory of the common law, if suited to the condition of things in America, were generally adopted by tacit consent. For the differing views taken by English and American statesmen upon the general questions here discussed, see the observations by Governor Pownall and the comments of Franklin thereon, for works of Franklin by Sparks, da 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 da. So clearly, this, what the heck just happened? Oh, it switched pages. Okay. So let's back up just a little bit, because this is the good part. Come on. What is going on with my getting mixed messages? Up, up, up. So let's see. The common law is not to be taken. Okay, this is where I left off here. From the first, the colonists in America claimed the benefit and protection of the common law. In some particulars, however, the common law as then existed in England was not suited to their condition and circumstances in the new country. And those particulars they omitted as it was put in practice by them. They also claimed the benefit of such statutes as from time to time had been enacted in modification of this body of rules. So as you can see right here, this is this separation in history that they were separating from the king and parliament and saying, look, we're still tied with you guys, but hey, not everything that you pass over there, we're going to acquiesce to. And being that we're over here across the pond, we're going to go ahead and decide for ourselves what applies here and what does not. Now, this is the key to understanding the common law, American common law. And I've had this discussion and argument with several people, including members of the bar. Oh, well, no, the English common law, that's in full force and effect here. It's even in the Idaho Code that says the common law of England is in full force and effect, except for by which statutes have said no or whatever, have altered it. No, it's not true. That was it. Right here, we're talking about it. Such statutes from time to time had been enacted in modification of this body of rules. And when the difficulties with the home government sprung up, It was a source of immense moral power to the colonists that they were able to show that the rights they claimed were conferred by the common law, and that the king and parliament were seeking to deprive them of the common birthright of Englishmen. Did Parliament attempt to levy taxes in America? The people demanded the benefit that the maxim with which for many generations every intelligent subject had been familiar, that those must vote the tax. Ooh, that's right. Must vote the tax who are to pay it. Who? Who does that taxation apply to? And not only that, did we vote on it? Oh, we didn't give our consent. And then again, see, this was back prior to, right? Prior to our nation called America being separated from England. This was just prior to this. So what we did is we said, no. No taxation without proper representation. And then in our republic, not even the majority of the people can vote to tax the people. See, this is what they really didn't like, is the fact that we made it off limits. We made certain things outside of the scope, outside of the sphere of governmental control. And we set up a private side of society and a public side, public law. Imagine that. Back to Hale versus Henkel, right? There is a very clear distinction between the private side and the public side. Hale versus Henkel does a really good job laying that out. That there is a clear distinction. The Parliament order offenders against the laws in America to be sent to England for trial? That's right. You know why they were doing that? Was because in America, the jury would say, nope. No, they wanted to drag them clear back over there into their star chambers under their bills of attainder and bills of pains and penalties to pay the taxes. Because it was pretty hard for them to come over here and do it. So they had to drag them back over there because it wouldn't happen here. The American colonists weren't having any of it. Every American was roused to indignation and protested against the trampling underfoot of that time-honored principle that trials for crime must be by a jury of the vicinage. Locus, jurisdiction, the location of wherever the alleged crime happened. This is why we put in the Constitution, this right here, the clause in there that it must be previously ascertained by law. Contending thus behind the bulwarks of the common law, Englishmen would appreciate and sympathize with their position, and Americans would feel doubly strong in a cause that was right not only, but the justice of which must be confirmed by an appeal to the consciousness of their enemies themselves. So as you can see here, they were trying to separate from Great Britain then. No, we're going to do the trial by jury over here. None of this taking us over there and subjecting us to your star chambers and doing exactly what you did to me last week. Oh, I have this authority and I can just be the accuser, the judge, the jury, and the executioner all within 3 minutes. No, I don't think so. That's an usurpation of power. I don't consent to that usurpation of power. And I never had due process of law to remove that right to due process of law, which is my property, which means he trespassed on my property. It's a common law trespass. So the evidence of the common law considered in part of the declaratory statutes we have mentioned, in part of the commentaries of such men learned in the law, as has been accepted as authority, but mainly in the decisions of the courts. Now, see, this is where, you got to comprehend, understand what is being said here. And this is what's been twisted. Look what it actually reads. But mainly in the decisions of the courts applying the law to actual controversies. They're not actually making law. They're taking the law and applying it, not interpreting it. They're applying it to the controversy before the court. Here's the law. Here's the controversy. How does this law apply? They're not making law through the case. They're applying the law. And see, this goes back to what Carl Miller was talking about, is if you can think of a right and you can articulate that right, you have that right. And that's the key. Knowledge is power. Do you know what your rights are? Do you know how to effectively claim and defend them? Claim, exercise, and defend them? You have to know what they are first, don't you? You got to be able to articulate them off the top of your head, not, oh, well, I'm going to have to go read. No, you're supposed to know this. It's supposed to be common sense law, self-evident. And again, who's responsible for our own education? Put the onus where it belongs. It's on us to know, which is why I'm here. That is the number one main reason why I'm here, is to try and educate my fellow man on what their rights are, where they come from, how to effectively claim, exercise, and defend them. So, but here it talks about, again, the evidence of the common law consisted in part of the declaratory statutes we have mentioned. Declare, lays down the law. Back to American jurisprudence. And I'll just pull it up, because volume 16, constitutional law, section 100. Bills of rights and those merely declaratory of the common law. Uh-oh. Somebody may have gotten to see that. You might have gotten to see a little bit there of Field McConnell paperwork. All right, here we go. Constitution, usually a declaration of principles of the fundamental law, right? That goes back to section 1 of constitutional law. Many of its provisions being only commands to the legislature to enact laws to carry out the purposes of the framers of the Constitution, or mere restrictions upon the power of the legislature to pass laws. However, it is entirely within the power of those who establish and adopt the Constitution to make any of its provisions self-executing, that is, operative without any necessity for further legislation. This goes back up to what was previously discussed here 97, 98, 99. This one being shall, being mandatory. The difference between shall and may. Shall is presumed to have been mandatory, and constitutional provisions are mandatory and stand on a higher plane than statutes. Let's get back down here to talking about the common law, our rights as the common law. So, however, it is entirely within the power of the power without any necessity for the legislation. Criteria which may be relevant in determining whether a constitutional provision is self-executing or not include a description of the right in detail, such as the means for its enjoyment and protection. The absence of any directive to the legislature for further action. There's the key one right there. If it doesn't say, and the legislature shall have the authority to make legislation, there is no directive. A particularly informative legislative history as to the provision's intended operation, and a consistency of self-execution with the scheme of rights established in the Constitution as a whole. Observation, Captain Obvious here. Even without the benefit of a declaration that they are self-executing, constitutional provisions and bills of rights and those merely declaratory of the common law are usually considered self-executing, as are provisions which specifically prohibit particular conduct. Hello, Captain Obvious here. If it's in a Bill of Rights, it's the law as it is written. And in a Bill of Rights, there is no need for further legislation. Zero, none. That's why it's laying down the law. That's how we lay down the law. Through declarations, we declare. We lay it down. Which goes back to the ninth and 10th Amendment or articles. So, while colonization continued, that is to say, until the War of the Revolution actually commenced, these decisions were authority in the colonies, and the changes made in the common law up to the same period were operative in America also, if suited to the condition of things here. The opening of the War of the Revolution is the point of time at which the continuous stream of common law became divided. And that portion, which had been adopted in America, flowed on by itself, no longer subject to changes from across the ocean, but liable still to be gradually modified through changes in the modes of thought and of business among the people, as well as through statutory enactments. So this is where they're saying, oh, well, we can do statutory law, right? That's true. But bills of rights lay down the law. Statutes are for government civil conduct. That is to control government. That's because, again, natural rights and civil rights have nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. It is outside of the sphere of governmental control. So they can't even make a statute. That's not how we make law, is it? Law is that which is laid down, ordained, established. Enactments of the legislature are not law of the land. They're policy. Part of the body politic, body policy, not law. But as we can see here, that was the proverbial line drawn in the sand with the Lee's resolutions. Okay, no more. We're severing all ties. Period. Okay. Now, even right there, right? Most of the business among the people, as well as through statutory enactments. Now, remember, technically speaking, if we read American Jurisprudence, volume 16, Constitutional Law, Section 1, that the Constitution is actually considered statutory law because it is the written law. That's right. The common law is supposed to be the unwritten law, lex non scripta. The law speaks to all with one mouth, God's mouth. God laid down our creator endowed rights, not man. You see the difference? Even the Constitution itself is made by a set of men and voted on. That's not God's law. That's the written law, like it talks about in American Jurisprudence, Volume 16, Constitutional Law, Section 1. So, these statutes upon the point which are covered by them are the best evidence possible. They are the living charters of English liberty to the present day. The Magna Carta. Magna Carta, charter, charters of freedom, charters of liberty. The first Virginia Charter. That's what they're talking about here. These statutes, because this is footnote number 2 from the paragraph above, talking about the common law and these statutes, right? These statutes upon the points which are covered by them are the best evidence possible, the Magna Carta. They are the living charters of English liberty to the present day. So the English or the Magna Carta of 1215, the Great Charter of Liberty, is valid today. June 14th, the year of our Lord 2021, is still valid today because it's declaring our rights. They are the living charters of English liberty to the present day. And as the forerunners of the American constitutions and the source, bingo, and the source from which have been derived many of the most important articles in their bills of rights. They are constantly appealed to when personal liberty or private rights are placed in apparent antagonism to the claims of government. Whoa. Remember, I didn't write this, but that's what it says as it is written. It's exactly what I've said before, though. These are those bulwarks of liberty. This is the bedrock that the foundation, the form of government is built on. That to secure these rights, governments are built, instituted. So we have to create our form of government, like when we build a house. There's a concrete form that is poured. But before you pour, not all the time, smart ones will dig up the ground and put a bunch of rock in there and pound that all down nice and solid, the bedrock, and then pour the foundation on top of that. Gee, I think the Bible even says something about building our homes on solid rock. So this is what we're talking about here. And what they're talking about is that these are articles. Again, They are articles in addition to an amendment, the Bill of Rights. But notice it says articles in their bills of rights, plural. We have way more than just one Bill of Rights. And again, even without the benefit of a declaration that they are self-executing, constitutional provisions in bills of rights, plural, right here in American Jurisprudence, Volume 16, Constitutional Law, Section 100. And those merely declaratory of the common law are usually considered self-executing, as are provisions which specifically prohibit particular conduct, like the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Not only is there any legislation there, is there anything there that says the legislation has subject matter jurisdiction and they can make legislation? It specifically says shall not, which is the previous section to this, Section 99, about the word shall is mandatory and directory. No subject matter jurisdiction. That means every single gun law is unlawful because there's no legislative authority delegated. This is in the Bill of Rights. It's part of the common law. And the reason why it's part of the common law is because it comes from the laws of nature, that we have the right to defend ourselves with arms, going clear back to 1606 with the first Charter of Virginia, that we have the right to arms while out on an adventure. Well, gee, in today's timing, that could be going to the store. So while out on adventure, headed to the store, we have the right to keep arms wherever we want to keep it, whether it's concealed or not, or bear them in the event that we need to defend ourselves or come to the aid and defense of our fellow man. That's the law in America. That's our rights as the law. So we got some cleaning up to do, folks. All of their color of law and usurpations of power, subversion of law, sedition, and treasonous acts need to be abolished. But again, it's fraud, right? Because fraud vitiates everything from its inception. They don't have subject matter jurisdiction. It's wholly void for any effect. Like it says here, we're supposed to constantly appeal to when personal liberty or private rights are placed in apparent antagonism to the claims of government. It's exactly what I just did. I'm referring back to them articles in bills of rights. Colonies also had legislatures of their own by which laws had been passed which were in force at the time of the separation and which remained unaffected thereby. When therefore they emerged from the colonial condition into that of independence, the laws which governed them consisted first of the common law of England, so far as they had tacitly adopted it as suited to their condition; second, of the statutes of England or of Great Britain, amendatory of the common law, which they had in like manner adopted; and third, of the colonial statutes. The first and second constituted the American common law. And by this is a great part our rights adjudged and wrongs redressed in the American states to this day. So Ooh, look at that. A few of the states, to get rid of confusion in the law, deemed it desirable to repeal the acts of Parliament and to reenact such portions of them as were regarded important here. See the Michigan repealing statute, copied from that of Virginia in Code of 1820. In some of the new states, there were also other laws in force than those two which have been eluded, have above eluded. So you see, there was a clear separation in an independence of Parliament and American common law. And what they did is they took all the good stuff and got rid of the crap. All right. So now we know, right? Now we know. So remember, at the common law, we are a man. And our Christian God-given name is, like for me, is Kirk. That's it. That's just that's it. Our last names is our family name. Okay? So, knowing this, I am the man named Kirk. That's it. All else is just a fiction. It's a fraud. Okay? So now we know. Now you know. All right. So it's Monday night. I'm going to cut it off at our usual time for cutoff. So sorry it was a short one tonight, but got to keep on a little bit of a schedule here, right? So again, for those that would like to help support the channels and especially to help me get into this new office space July 1st, I'd greatly appreciate your donations over here at the office, 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Boise, Idaho 83704. If you need that, again, it's over here on Facebook, and Fix It, he's posted it out there a few times on, there it is. Thank you, Fix It. For Facebook, it's over here at the Kirk's Law Corner. Okay. It's also, I believe, at kirkslawcorner.com. Another way to help support monthly would be get on Patreon. Patreon.com/Kirk's Law Corner should take you right there. Going to try and get some stuff fixed on that on the website. There is a Patreon link, but it just takes you to basic Patreon. So we got to get that link fixed so it actually takes you to my channel. So thank you all out there that are here right now, that are watching, wanting to learn, American patriots out here. It's up to us, really, because it's going to affect the whole world. Everybody in the whole world's watching America, hoping that we don't go down, because we are the last stand against this tyranny. And I have reason to believe we're not. We are going to prevail. So keeping, and there's lots of books and stuff there at kirkslawcorner.com to read from. And again, I highly recommend the Treatise on Arrest and False Imprisonment as the number one book, recommended book to read. Treatise on Arrest and False Imprisonment. It's not Treatise on False Arrest and Imprisonment. It's Treatise on Arrests and False Imprisonment. It's false imprisonment without lawful authority. arrest is just to deprive you of your liberty. So, um, looking forward to Wednesday night workshop, Patreon. Again, this is going to get into a lot more in-depth studies and research and some of the things that we talk about that we just can't talk about here without getting freaking strikes and banned and all that good stuff. And due to those other issues that I had earlier this week, I was planning on getting stuff set up uh, for like through Restream and some other websites there. So I got to find some time to get on that. It might not be until this weekend that I get time to set that all up. Trying to get branching out, not necessarily getting away from Facebook or YouTube, but having different platforms to put out things that I just can't put out here. So, yes, Wiseman, Charles Wiseman is very good stuff. Yep, got to thank my brother Michael out there. Thanks for sending some of that stuff, the Authority of Law, and those other books that I have perused, by the way. Yes, want to thank everyone behind the scenes here on the team, both right here, right now, and part of the Kirk's Law Corner silent team. Want to thank everybody there. Miles, thanks for the website. Rex for helping with the server. Thank you, brother. Actually, I didn't even see you on here tonight. I hope you're doing okay. I know you're struggling with some life issues there and people, so want to thank you personally. So I hope you're doing all right. And hang in there, folks. I know it's a bumpy ride. It's we're in the bumpity bump. I think we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're coming out, and it's going to be coming out, my guess, by August. I'm not sure where that video is, but it's out there. Yeah, we were on the verge of an economic collapse. Yeah, the almighty dollar collapse. But NESARA, they've been discussing NESARA, how to implement it and how to get this done and how to get it out there, which is worldwide debt relief. We're getting our gold back. A lot of gold's been returned to other countries, nations. It's been retrieved from the thieves that have held it. So make no mistake, our economy is going to boom like nobody's business after this all goes down. So, and yep, right there. Keep healthy and stay safe. Okay, folks? Worry about your own health because ain't nobody else out there going to take care of you. Take care of your own health. Take care of your own. And at this point, mind your own business. Try and help those that you can, but don't try to convince them otherwise. Because at this point, it's too late. It really is. So, all right, folks, have a wonderful night. And for those of you on Patreon, we'll see you Wednesday night. The rest of you, we'll see you for Friday night fun night. All right. So much love, everybody. Thank you for the likes, follows, share, the prayers. your support, love, and kindness. I greatly appreciate you. And again, we'll see you Wednesday night for Wednesday night workshop for Patreon, and Friday night fun night for those. We'll be back here. All right. Good night.